Instead of this euphemism called the old world order or even authority or kingship, who could tell me what this really is? Slavery. Let's stop euphemizing and call things what they really are. This is called slavery. Okay? Backed by violence, and it's not anything else, never was anything else, isn't anything else today, and is never going to be anything else. It's called slavery. If you're being honest with yourself, which most people aren't. So, the New World Order is based on the concept of government. Okay? Government comes from the Latin verb gubernare, sometimes rendered in more modern or non-classical Latin as governare. Okay? Gubernare means to control. And then the second part of the word ment comes from the Latin noun mens mentis, which means mind. When you put them together, the word government literally means to control the mind. It is mind control. To believe in it, someone has to be under mind control, because they have to believe in the erroneous concept of authority backed by violence. Okay? That's what government is now, always has been, and always will be, whether anybody understands that or not. Okay? Now, this is what the New World Order is based upon. We saw what the Old World Order was. It was ruled by one, a priest or a king. Okay? The New World Order is you have a government on top of the structure. So now we're doing, it's the same exact structure ruled by violence and built on the false claim of authority over other people. Okay? And all you're doing is you're divesting that so-called authority, that power, okay, granted to the king, and you're just divesting it into a few people in the institution known as government. So this is authority vested in a group. The system is based entirely in violence and built upon the erroneous and dogmatic belief or the religion that a certain group of people are masters who possess the moral right to issue commands, while all other beings are subjects who have the moral obligation to obey the commands of the master. Once again, if you think there's any difference between this and the Old World Order, these are called opposames, as David Icke likes to call them. They're not opposites. They're the exact same thing, euphemized with a different word. It's all language. It's all word games, word magic. Okay? Ultimately, it's the exact same core thing, and that's called slavery. Nothing has changed. The Old World Order has just morphed into the New World Order because people stopped believing overtly enough in the religious institutions and in the institution of kingship. That's it. So now, the people in control of these institutions just said, well, let's just morph it and say, we're going to divest it into the hands of a few. Let's stop euphemizing these things and calling them what they are. Okay? It's not kingship. It's called slavery ruled by one. It's not government. It's called slavery ruled by few. If you're being honest with yourself. There's that caveat. If you're being honest with yourself. Most people aren't being honest with themselves. They're lying to themselves because they hate themselves. Because they're dealing with unresolved psychological dynamics, okay, that bring up self-loathing and the refusal to accept personal responsibility, and no one wants to hear that spoken. Well, I'm going to speak it. I'm going to speak it. All right? Let's look at certain groups of people. Thank you. I have a half an hour left. I'll try to speed through this. All right? Rigid skeptics, like this guy who's burning in hell right now, if there is a hell, guaranteed he's there. You know who that is? That's Philip Klass. Okay? The biggest so-called ufology debunker of all time, who was, now it has finally come out, was on the payroll of the CIA and was working for the CIA the entire time he was doing all this debunking work. Okay? The biggest clown possibly in the history of the world, this punk. Okay? All right? Because he'll say he's a skeptic, but he's nothing of the kind. Nothing of the kind, because if his daddy tells him it's true, well, then I believe daddy. I believe the CIA, because that's my daddy. This is how these nested psychological abandonment issues work. I can't look into the truth for myself, no matter how much evidence. Evidence be damned. Evidence be damned. Daddy told me it's this way. Okay? So, I'm skeptical about everything. Unless, of course, the government or government-funded scientists say it's true. Then I'm a true believer. I'm a true believer because mommy and daddy told me it's true. Right. How about religionists in general, the followers of religion? The priest class we already talked about. Okay? The followers of religion I call the children of the gods, or Jay had a great term for it, the children of hierarchy. These are the people who love hierarchy. They love prostrating themselves before their gods, as if the God of creation would ever demand that of us. Because he's that vain. He, she, it is that vain. That force is that vain. No, the gods were that vain and cruel and sadistic. The God of creation is nothing like that. Okay? So, you know, all religion is about is surrender. It's about surrender. It's not about actually getting to the truth. It's about accepting what we tell you. Okay? So, we believe what we're told to believe. That is so much easier than developing critical thinking skills. That's what religion is. I'm just going to cut right to the core of what's going on psychologically with people like this. And I don't care who it offends. Okay? You listening out there, I don't care if you're offended by it. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in what's true. Okay? Believers in government, or what I call the supporters of slavery. Look, in all honesty, we even have to drop this term statist. We got to start calling these people what they are. They're supporters of slavery. That's what these people are. Okay? And I don't care what brand they come in. Left, right, center, or otherwise. Okay? The Democrat, the liberal, the political leftist. She wants government to be our caretaker from cradle to grave. Thinks that government should act as provider and nurturer like an archetypal mother. This is because there's abandonment issues in the motherly sense that are going on in most people like that. And if you go into people who are political leftist, liberal, Democrat types, okay, and yeah, I am generalizing, okay, you will find people with mommy issues. Okay? You will find people with mommy issues because what they want the government to be is the caretaker that's absent. So they want it to be mommy. I want mommy. And now government's going to be mommy. Okay? Now let's look at the opposite side, the opposame. Okay? As David I calls it, the Republican, the conservative, the political right-winger. Okay? They want government to be our protector. We want a strong government. It's got to be our protector. Police the world and keep us safe. Right? From cradle to grave, it's going to keep us safe. Like an archetypal father figure, like the powerful, protective father figure. Well, just like the Democrats and the political leftists have mommy issues, all the people on the right side, who this is what they think government should exist to do, have daddy issues. They want government to be daddy. Okay? That's the underlying psychological issues that these people have and don't even know they have. They don't even know they have these issues. All right? It's mommy and daddy didn't pay enough attention to me. So I want mommy and daddy present now. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. And look, let's not leave out the minarchists. Okay? Let me just go back one there. The minarchist, the constitutionalist. This is the libertarian. I only want a little bit of government. I want government to beat me 3 days a week instead of 7. Whip me 3 days a week, master, not 7, please. The plantation on the other side of the hill only whips their slaves 3 days a week. Here we get whipped 7 days a week. So I want to go over to that plantation. This is absurdity. It's absurdity. And again, I don't usually speak that strongly out against these types of groups because they're almost there, but they're the people who are most of the way there, but they fear going all the way because they don't want to be labeled an anarchist. Or in other words, a non-supporter of slavery who thinks that slavery should be abolished. God forbid. Gods forbid. Okay? And yeah, I'm getting a little bit emotional. Because these people are the people who keep slavery going. They're responsible. How much time do I have? 27. Okay. Mainstream media is the next group, who are psychological infants, children. They don't want to determine truth for themselves and report it in any kind of a responsible way or any kind of a direct way. All they care about is a paycheck. That's it. I'll get up there and lie to people for a paycheck. Write what you're told, mainstream media. Thanks, corporate news. The elite couldn't control the people without you. It's true, because these are the people who keep these topics from ever being explored. See, you don't need to eradicate occult knowledge or wisdom. You don't need to. All you have to do is have enough people dissuading people from looking into any of this and call it fringe and cast doubt on it and cast derision on it. You know, the ridicule factor. That's all. And then people go along with the herd like good little sheep and good little slaves. So these people, what they're really saying is, I'm too much of a low-life coward to tell the truth, so I repeat lies for a paycheck. You know, that's all. These people. I'm trying to help you, somebody who is partially well, if not all the way well, to explain you're dealing with psychologically ill people. These are broken individuals that need healing and need to be put back together to remember who we really are. And we're not going to do it unless we deal with these issues. It's not going to be done unless the issues on this tree are dealt with. The New Agers, who I call the hopelessly naive, who want to believe, oh, you know, the aliens from Pleiades are coming here in their giant battle cruisers to rescue us from our own ignorance any day now. You know, or no real knowledge is going to have to be done. We're going to have to meditate the world into a new way of being. But you're not going to have to actually study and read books and take up knowledge into yourself. God forbid. That might involve effort and work. And we can't have that, you know. So we're just going to sit in a lotus position and meditate all day. Okay? And the other things, they have just wildly off notions about how actual dynamics of the laws of attraction work that are completely unfounded and don't work the way that they're claiming that they work. Because they don't understand natural law. The New Age movement is put there as the last cul-de-sac before the gold mine to cut people off from a real understanding of natural law. I'll look right in the camera, I'll look right in their face and tell them. Cowards. Because you don't want to come out, you don't want to put your name on the line, come out with your real name and say, I stand against all forms of slavery. And I'm going to do everything I can to abolish them. Okay? I'll hide behind a keyboard. I'll give myself a little pseudonym or an acronym name. And I'll attack other researchers on the little aspect that I think they got wrong. Instead of actually telling people what the truth is. In a way that can be readily understood by other people. Okay? They're armchair quarterbacks and they're lazy cowards. Okay? And here's what they're saying. I know all about what's going on in the world. Can't you see how well I'm putting all that knowledge to use? Can't you see what a great job I'm doing? So many people are inactive. Yeah. Order followers are next, the least mature, and yet they're the most responsible. The absolutely most responsible people. Now, how could the least mature be the most responsible people? Well, it's true. These people are the people who have not grown up ever. Okay? And yet, they're the most responsible for what's going on in the world. They actually create the police state. These children, who I'm going to put images up on the screen. And if you can just, when I put these images up, I just want you to look into their eyes. Okay? And you tell me if these people aren't children. You tell me if you look in their eyes, look into the researchers' eyes I'll put up later and compare them to these people's eyes. Because they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. You tell me if these aren't psychological children. Okay? Now, there's the archetypal image of the abandoned child. Okay? And here's the abandoned children who are trying to appeal to the approval of mommy and daddy. I want to appeal to the approval of daddy because mommy and daddy didn't pay enough attention to me in real life. So this is my surrogate family. I want to look all the same like a good little boy and girl that does what they're told on command, like a robot. On command like a robot. Look into the eyes of these people. Tell me you don't see psychological children. I'd tell you there's something wrong with you if you don't see it. Okay? Because you have to be completely unconscious not to see that these people have not grown up one iota from childhood. Not one. Yeah, though they're big and bad trying to take other people's rights away on command. Yeah. But here's what they really are, folks. We are the house slaves. We are the house slaves. No lower form of life than a house slave. Okay? These are the house slaves. We'd rather enslave our own species, and ourselves included, rather than grow up, develop real courage, and think for ourselves.